Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have more creepy videos that will absolutely blow your mind. For context, don't believe everything you hear or see on this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. With that being said, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's dive in.
This might be footage of a possible Skinwalker. The Dog Daddy official catches what appears to be an estranged woman in the middle of the night sneaking up to his property, and then all of this happens. Take a look.
Listen, you need to leave now. I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna let them out. It's midnight. What are you doing here? Leave now. It's midnight. We're not playing any more games. You are agitating my dogs. I told you late at night my guard dogs are out, and they're out. I'm not gonna be babysitting. You broke into the property at 3 in the morning. They're gonna come out. You need to leave now.
After multiple warnings, the woman seems to just get closer. What makes things even weirder is the woman continues to say she just wants to bless the man. Something about this entire situation just feels extremely off and bizarre, and gets even weirder when she disappears from plain sight.
I just came to bless you.
I'm letting my dogs out.
Don't do that.
She disappeared.
Something about this doesn't sit right with me, as it seems like he recognizes the person, but she disappears from plain sight, which matches that of a Skinwalker. To make things even more bizarre, this account doesn't really post anything paranormal or haunted, so let me know what you guys think down below.
First thing I'm thinking is look at how quiet the dogs were as soon as she disappeared.
Let them grow. A 5-year-old boy's got no business being in school.
Oh, I agree.
He's got no business. He needs to be out climbing a tree. Now, maybe he'll break, but he'll be happy because he'll have a cast and he'll have the scars of war.
That's right.
He needs to be muddy. He needs to be dirty. He needs to be out feeding the horses. All right. He needs to be growing and developing. He doesn't need to be sitting down and book and trying to figure out if a train leaves Chicago at 8 a.m. traveling 35 miles. He don't need that nonsense.
He doesn't.
They need to learn how to build relationships. They need to be around a campfire with a bunch of buddies and figuring out the pain of acting stupid. They need to figure it out.
That's right.
All right. They need to be down to the creek bank down there, getting a bloody nose and a good fist fight because somebody has not yet learned how to shut their mouth. Okay. They need to learn life.
Yes.
You don't learn life sitting in a bunch of stinking seminars. We got to let kids be kids. And I don't, this is me. A 26-year-old is still a kid. Let them grow.
That is a bold statement with a lot of truth behind it. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Kids graduate from university. Incidentally, the word graduate comes from 2 words, gradually indoctrinate. So consequently, when you graduate, you come out with a square mortarboard. The mortarboard is a symbol of masonry. This is why you go to college to get a degree. Consequently, you need to understand that all universities and colleges in the Western world operate under the Vatican. All universities and colleges. So if you want to save your money to send your kids to college, just remember you're sending them to a Jesuit, Catholic-dominated ancient Roman Empire system, whereby your children are to gradually be indoctrinated into a system of religion, politics, and theology. As far back as the 4th, 5th, and 6th century, we know that the escapades of the popes, many of them were they were all offsprings of bankers. The entire Vatican system was a banking system. Today's Uniform Commercial Code is based on the old Vatican canon law. So once you understand, the church, government, politics are all interconnected, and the secret societies have been manipulating them all from day one.
Just for context, this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only.
Wait, so the world is way bigger than we think?
Exactly. In outer space, that whole idea was made to trap our minds, keep us inside an invisible prison.
How would that even work?
Millennia ago, Richard Constantine, part of the ruling Primordian families from lands beyond the ice wall, discovered the continents we now call Earth. 7 massive lands, untouched, empty. But he didn't see them as places to explore. He saw the perfect containment zone, a world to populate, control, dominate for generations.
Containment zones? Like mind control?
Exactly. Richard invented the cosmic paradox, a psychological and geometric trick so massive it warped reality. He convinced everyone the ice wall wasn't a wall, just the bottom of a sphere, and the sky above was everything.
So the universe we see is engineered?
Not fake, just designed. Using celestial engineering, the Primordium families made us believe in an infinite universe so no one would look outward toward the real lands beyond.
That theory always blows my mind. It really does.
Y'all check out this footage from 2010. Y'all check out this footage from 2010 that someone filmed in China. There's a lot of stuff that go on out here that we don't understand, especially when it comes to extraterrestrials. Now, I don't know what they doing in this footage, but it looks like they scanning for something. Now, if you pay attention, it's orbs coming out of an orb, and it's going back and forth. I have no idea what's going on, but this is just from what I'm seeing in this video. Now, this was shot in 2010 in China. Believed to be a cigar-shaped UFO with orbs around it, doing very strange things. Look at that. Like, what are they doing? Are they healing the planet? Are they scanning for information? There's just no telling what's going on, but you can't deny that this is strange right here. Pay attention to what's going on. He even zooms in on the bottom orb. Look at that. This is way before AI or anything. That is crazy.
Like they said, you can't blame AI for everything. It definitely looks like some type of scan is going on here. How strange is this? A buried Egyptian discovery.
Spoiler alert. There appears to be a 40-meter long metallic tic-tac shaped object.
Yeah, there seems to be a metallic object down there. Alan Burrows scans that correlated other scans and also reported on that Tim Akers, rest in peace, and what he said about this object. Like he is a credible guy to say this. He doesn't draw conclusions about what it might be, but it's not wood, it's not stone, it's metal. It's not unlike other metal that he's seen, although they couldn't classify what exact type of metal it is. In the central atrium, which we'll get into what that is, but somewhere in the realm of 60, 70 meters, like 200 feet, 150 to 180 feet down.
Spoiler alert.
Could this be those cigar UFOs that we're always seeing, or possibly something else? I also wonder if it's made of mercury as well.
So this country in Antarctica,
What about it?
how long has it been there? Why doesn't anybody know about this?
Buddy Agarthia is at least 10,000 years old. Look, when we first encountered the continent, they were already there, right? There's really no definitive way to measure how long they've existed, but look, obviously the highest ranking intelligence authorities are well aware of this place, okay? And the restrictive Antarctic treaties are the reason nobody else is. Look, the Agarthians, they don't want us in. They live within a city built on inconceivably complex architecture. Okay, pyramid-based energy systems that are reminiscent of ancient Egypt. Look, things we don't understand. We do believe that they have trade routes which lead through and beyond the ice wall. Okay, connecting them to civilizations far out into the depths of the unknown lands, right? They are the bridge to a world which we have been closed off from, okay? They control the entire goddamn parameter of the ice wall. We've been studying them for decades to the best of our abilities, but it wasn't enough, and so, well, the CIA did the unthinkable, right? They captured a native Agarthian.
So the government captured one of these native Antarctic people, or Agarthians as you call them, and interrogated them.
I mean, look, they had been studying this rogue country within Antarctica for decades, right? Of course they captured one of the natives. How else were they supposed to get any information on the place? Look, regardless, the things that they found out in the conversations that followed suit, right, were just, it puts history in a different perspective. Let's put it that way.
Wait, they were talking to this person?
Well, look.
I mean, wouldn't these people speak their own language?
Buddy, just because they have their own native language doesn't mean they don't understand others as well. Look, after they detained him, right, they figured he was going to speak in some kind of uninterpretable tongue, so they sent in a linguistic expert by the name of Pete Richards to do the interrogation, right? And so Pete sits there asking him all kinds of different questions, right, about their society, about who they are, but the guy just wouldn't say a thing. He was completely silent, right? Up until the point where Pete pulls out these pictures the agency had taken of this country's pyramids, right? And he sets the picture down as he says, "Can you tell me about these?" The guy didn't really budge, right? Like he didn't want to engage. And so Pete says, "Listen, we've seen structures like this before." He pulls out an image of the pyramids from ancient Egypt and shows it to him. And for the first time, the guy's expression just completely shifts, right? Like he was seeing something that he'd somehow seen before. And as he's staring at the image, he goes, "Second." Pete's just shocked this guy had finally spoke, right? And as he's just staring at him, a higher-up agent in the room quickly says, "Pete, what the hell's that mean?" And with a kind of just wide-eyed, shocked expression of disbelief, Pete says, "It's Egyptian. It means old friend."
So this country in Antarctica.
Once humanity truly realizes that everything is connected, that we are connected to each other, that we are connected to nature, that everything is one big spider web, the interconnectedness of everything is very obvious. Once we realize this, truly, we will end all suffering on this planet. We will come together in unity, and we will take back our power.
I want to show you guys some of the coolest things that I have found so far in my 1863 Cassell Publishing House Bible. And this is just a standard family holy Bible. So right off the bat, I found the chronology fascinating. I've never seen any modern Bible that has dates. This one lists the creation date as 4004 BC. Then these are the dates for the Old Testament that they have listed. I know that dates are debated. I just find this really, really cool that it lists it so openly. In Genesis, you have the sun, the moon, but what is this? And there's no explanation, but I really feel like this could possibly be like a representation of Polaris or something, because it just doesn't make sense otherwise. Why would there be the sun and the moon and then this in the middle, just like how Polaris is in the middle? I don't know. I'm not stating anything as fact. Let me know what you guys think, though. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on that. So after the creation of the earth, there's some notes and some pictures. Here is how the Egyptians thought of the universe, and here's how the Hindus did. But the notes are kind of puzzling. You guys have to let me know what you think. It says the ancient Egyptians symbolized the earth, as the engraving will show, by a personage with a green beard, covered with leaves and recumbent, and heaven by a goddess, forming a vault by her arched body, and sprinkled with stars, while two boats, one carrying the rising and the other the setting sun, traversed the heavens by skimming the surface of the goddess's body. I know that you guys are thinking what I'm thinking, and if you're not, SpaceX and the rockets hitting the firmament. In the center appears the god Maon, the divine intelligence, presiding over the equilibrium. I want to show you guys some of the coolest things that I have.
Call me crazy, but this doesn't look like your average bird. It's kind of giving me pterodactyl vibes. Maybe that's a reach, but that's one of the first things I thought of when I saw that. Looking at these, or if we look a little bit closer, that could be a crane possibly right over there. But looking over here, this is definitely a sun, and this is the moon. Polaris. I don't know. What could this be?
They have larger eyes than humans do. Their eyes are roughly twice the size of our eyes. And when they're young, they're blue and white, just like ours. When you look at them, they look just like people with larger eyes. The eyes spread around the side of their head more than a human's does, and they're very prominent. And their eyesight is as good, at least, as that of a cat. And their hearing is as good as, at least, as that of a dog. They're capable of making sounds with their vocal cords that humans can't hear, just the way that I'm told rhinoceroses can do. But they can hear them, and they're well aware of this. When I was out there among them, it wouldn't be uncommon to apparently hear animal sounds out in the sagebrush, sounds like meadowlarks or dogs barking or horses whinnying. Really, it was the aliens. When they would walk in on me, if they felt like just talking between themselves, they were perfectly capable of talking between themselves using sounds too high for me to hear.
It's always interesting to me that there could possibly be other species than humans beyond the ice wall. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. There's a lot of stuff that isn't fact, but it definitely is interesting nevertheless. These be Agarthians, possibly. I don't know. But it makes you think, could everybody just be making this up? You got over 100 people that's talking about this type of stuff all the time. Could they be making it all up for fun?
Alcohol is the spiritual enemy of society, a literal poison sold on every single corner. Alcohol functions like an energetic ballast. It lowers awareness, blunts intuition, and paralyzes the body's signal systems. Even more interesting, the word alcohol comes from the Arabic term al-kul, or al-gwal, which can literally translate into body-eating spirit. This is why they call alcohol a spirit, because when you drink, you literally open yourself up to be taken over by some sort of demonic possession, let's say. Why do you think when some people drink, they act out, they get violent, they become literally a different person? This is why. Alcohol is designed to lower your vibration, destroy your brain cells. Why do you think you wake up feeling like shit? That is not normal, guys. You are drinking poison. There's a reason why society normalizes these things so much, because they are trying to keep you low in this state of addiction, partying, becoming someone who you truly aren't. This is one of the greatest ways to control an entire civilization. It's just to simply keep them in the lowest vibration possible. You need to seek nature, purpose, and God, and stop consuming what the parasites at the top want you to consume, which is all of this. Peace and love.
I believe I'd have heard alcohol be called spirits before. Like, what spirits? You know, it makes you think, why would they call it that? Cell phone radiation pops popcorn.
Here it goes. They're going to stop popping any second now. Quit. Oh my gosh! That actually worked.
From now on, when I use my cell phone, I'm going to put it on speaker away from my face, or I might just write you a letter to avoid all this. Is that something coming to Earth or returning?
So now they're saying that aliens are on their way to Earth. It should be here in November, allegedly. And they say they're not just here to kumbaya. They said they're here to probably attack us. That's what they're saying, y'all. So y'all, they're trying to say this thing right here, this little rainbow thing, is a ship. And it's headed right towards Earth. Now, I'm not saying they're capping. I don't know what's really going on. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's not. All I know is they've been telling us surely but slowly that there's UFOs on this Earth. I remember they've been briefing us on certain little situations that's been happening. Certain little videos that went viral of like UFOs in the sky. I remember they had a little press conference. Now they're saying we might get in contact with this ship that's heading towards Earth in November. And you got some people saying, no, they're not just coming towards Earth. They're coming to visit the ones that's already here, that never left. So I don't know, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. And if you don't believe me, go look this shit up.
The way he said that kind of make me think like it's an album that's dropping in November. Oh my goodness. Aliens coming soon. The speed of sound versus the speed of light.
Oh.
Whoa, holy
Family, they try to hide the ancient civilization, but we are cracking the code. You see this old historical picture? This is our history. Look, family, this is Machu Picchu, and look at this flying object over here. Again, family, Machu Picchu and the flying objects. Family, they try to hide our history, and right now there is a great reset happening again. Family, you see all of these pictures, they are pictures of land beyond the ice wall. Again, an area that they didn't want us to know about, but we discovered it. There were people that went beyond Antarctica and beyond the ice wall, and they made pictures and discovered all of these. And family, they don't like that we are discovering the real history. Family, the world is going through an awareness and a global shift. When our frequency was Family, they try to hide the ancient civilization, but we are cracking the code. You see this old historical picture? This is our history. Look, family, this is Machu Picchu, and look at this flying object over here. Again, family, Machu Picchu and the flying objects. Family, they try to hide our history, and right now there is a great reset happening again. Family, you see all of these pictures, they are pictures of land beyond the ice wall. Again, an area that they didn't want us to know about, but we discovered it. There were people that went beyond Antarctica and beyond the ice wall, and they made pictures and discovered all of these. And family, they don't like that we are discovering the real history. Family, the world is going through an awareness and a global shift. When our frequency was like this, they could control us. But right now, the world has shifted into a new reality and a new dimension. And this is the dimension of awareness. They cannot hide anything anymore from us. We are living in a time that we are exposing everything, and they can't stop it anymore. We have discovered that our history is full of lies and has a lot of sides. Look at this, family. This is New York 200 years ago. And again, this is what we discovered. New York 200 years ago. This is how it looks like. And right now we discovered a very old video that I want to show you. Look at this. This is Machu Picchu, and it's in Americas.
How crazy are those objects? Reminds me of something type of covenant from Halo.
There's another civilization in existence that's intelligent that we know about. And we actually have artifacts from them that can operate. The science and the technology can change us dramatically. It can change the way the entire world operates, the economy, everything.
And we have it.
Oh, we have them. You don't have to believe it, but we do. I've dismantled it. The big thing is the suppression of extremely advanced technology and the suppression of unknown science. That's it. You know, for instance, the propulsion of the craft. Everything that we have, whether it's a propeller plane or a jet, it throws something out the back, either high-speed exhaust or a large volume of air. This is the first time there's a craft it's a reactionless craft. It's a field propulsion craft. And that's exactly how the craft works. It creates a distortion right in front of it, and the craft falls forward.
I would like to learn more about that unknown technology. More unidentified flying objects coming right at you.
You know, something alive like a jellyfish, and this plasma kicking off this object that's spitting out these kind of trails from behind it. It's very cool. And I believe this is, again, real. We're looking at something totally strange. These are the kind of UFOs that I think they're not ours. These are the otherworldlies, basically, as you could call them, extraterrestrials. Who knows where are they coming from? We just don't know. Maybe they're coming from our oceans. Maybe they're coming from underneath our Earth's crust. We just don't know.
Agartha.
Where the phenomenon's coming from. That's the big question we all want to know. But we're looking at something here that's really just has this odd like feature. Look at this thing. It has this kind of like purple, green, red, orange, and then it's just spitting out these kind of things that just disappear at the end of its tail. Wow. You know,
this one is very exceptional. I just find it fascinating how this one is like flapping like a stingray. Then you're just like leaving some type of exhaust trail, ether exhaust trail behind it. How cool is that?
So you mean to tell me Area 51 is on fire and nobody asking what they really burning? You mean to tell me the most secret base on Earth just caught on fire by itself? Yeah, y'all, something weird is going on. Y'all do not understand what the hell is taking place right now. So many things is happening all at once. 30,000 acres are on fire near Area 51, y'all. So they say this fire started on July 4th, y'all. They said lightning came down, scoosh, and started that fire. And it's still burning currently as I speak. So with all this going on, people online are saying the government is trying to burn evidence, y'all. That's why the fires is happening. I don't think that's the case. Here's the part that got me thinking. There's not a lot of coverage on this. This don't just burn it in silence, y'all. Like, what? So then you got people online that's talking about the fire when it started over there beside Area 51. They captured what appears to be an orb or alien, y'all. Now, I don't know if it's an alien, y'all. But all I know is if you wanted to erase something real quick, a wildfire would do the job for you. That's all I'm saying.
Now that he said something, that Canadian fire seems suspicious. I was wondering why I was having troubles breathing so hard these last couple of days. The Canadian wildfires have been coming into America, making it tough to breathe. I believe yesterday, like, I don't know how they measure it, but it was at 160 yesterday. The safe range is in between 0 and 30. It was in the red zone these last couple of days. What is going on?
Color Haint Blue is all across the South, but do you know why? First of all, what is Haint Blue? It is this color, and it can be found all across the South, including in South Carolina, Savannah, New Orleans, and sometimes even northern Florida. But why is it used so often in the South? To protect people from haints, or haunts, malicious spirits. According to tradition, using this color would trick spirits into thinking they had either reached water or the sky. And since these entities could not cross water, they'd be deterred from entering your home. According to Southern tradition, if you use this color on the doors and windows of your home, you will ward off these malicious entities. But if you trace this color back far enough, you'll find that it was used by the Gullah Geechee people who were brought over to the Americas against their will as slaves. When the Gullah Geechee people were brought to the coastal southeast against their will, they were able to maintain important parts of their culture. Their ancestors had believed that blue was a powerful color that would ward off negative spirits, and they kept this tradition going. How were they able to keep it going? From the 1730s to the 1770s, indigo was a readily available crop for enslaved people. And when mixed with milk, dirt, paint, and lime, this indigo turned a beautiful bluish-green color that looked like the ocean in the sky. The Gullah Geechee people would then smear this color across the doorway of their home to protect them. The Gullah Geechee people continued to use Haint Blue for generations to come, but it also spread in popularity to the places where they lived, including South Carolina. The next time you see any variation of Haint Blue, please stop and think of the Gullah Geechee people and the protection that this color is said to bring us. Have you ever lived in a house with Haint Blue?
No, I haven't, but it's beautiful. I love that color. It's like a turquoise, but at the same time, it kind of gives me Squid Game vibes as well. How creepy.
Why are scientists from Harvard and beyond suddenly obsessed with a comet named 3I Atlas? Because it's not acting like a comet at all. Let's start with its orbit. 3I Atlas moves retrograde against the flow of all the planets, and it's flying just 5 degrees off our solar system's orbital plane. That kind of precision happens only 0.02% of the time. That's not random. That's calculated. And it gets weirder. Its trajectory enters from the direction of the galactic center, one of the brightest, most chaotic regions in the sky. That brightness actually made it harder to detect, almost like it was using the glare to hide its approach. Now here's where it breaks the rules of being a comet. There's no visible outgassing, no tail, yet it accelerates, which should be impossible without propulsion. Some researchers say it could be solar sail-driven, just like theoretical spacecraft we design. Not natural. Engineered. Then there's the flyby path. It's set to slingshot past Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. That kind of gravity assist route? It's exactly what we use to steer our own probes. And the probability of that path happening by pure chance? Just 0.005%. But the most suspicious part? On October 29, 2025, it reaches perihelion, its closest point to the sun. At that exact moment, it'll be fully hidden behind the sun from Earth's view. A perfect window to change course, without us seeing a thing. If it shifts toward Earth between late November and December, that wouldn't be a mistake. That would be intent. So ask yourself, is 3I Atlas just a rock drifting through space? Or the first silent visitor from somewhere else?
Perihelion. That sounds incredibly fascinating. I wonder what pops up when I type that in, if I could even spell it. Perihelion. Perihelion is the point in the planet's orbit where it's closest to the sun. For the Earth, that occurs in early January 2025. Earth's perihelion will be on January 4th, 7 a.m. So that means that's when the sun gets closest to the Earth. Interesting.
The device combines principles from quantum mechanics, electromagnetism, and advanced imaging technology to purportedly capture images of entities existing in dimensions parallel to our own. Energy vision consists of a sophisticated array of sensors and emitters that generate and detect specific frequencies of electromagnetic energy. These frequencies are theorized to resonate with the energy signatures of these beings, making them visible to the device's sensors. The captured data is then processed by advanced algorithms to produce visual images, which are displayed on a high-resolution screen. The device operates by emitting a controlled burst of energy into a defined area and then scanning the area for any anomalies in the energy field. According to NEMS, these mysterious beings interact with these energy fields in ways that are detectable by energy vision's sensors. The resulting images reveal shapes and forms that do not correspond to any known physical entities, suggesting the presence of beings from other dimensions.
Sounds like Archons.
His career to exploring how energy
Absolutely insane is that research where he's looking at these entities that we can't see, but only special cameras can find it.
Strangest things you'll ever see in the Earth's sky. Check this out. This bizarre object that you're about to see here was approximately 4 miles in the sky, based off of how small it appears right here at the very beginning of the video, unedited, unzoomed. And as we zoom in on this thing, it's pretty decent size, and it has features. You know how we're always zooming in to look for possible features? Well, when I zoomed in on this thing, it had features galore. Check this out. Purple, what looks like a question mark in the nighttime sky, just sitting there. I had a gentleman tell me that this looked like it had a liquid stabilizer in it, as it doesn't appear to be moving. It's remaining perfectly still in the nighttime sky, once again at around 4 miles up, over 20,000 feet. Are you serious right now? Wait till we zoom in on this thing and look at some of the features. Here they zoom back out, and there it is, way up in the night sky, all by itself. Here we're going to zoom in, look at some still images, take a closer look. Video was sent in by Tegan Hare. Check this out. We're going to go in. You're going to see a circle with an X in the middle of this thing. That implies intelligent design 100%, whatever this thing may have been. Look at that. You serious right now? I zoomed in here because this just looked highly unusual. Looks like a mouth opening, right? With 2 lights down below. There's the circle with the X in the middle of it. Lights kind of scattered around right there. 2 right there. I'll leave 1 down here. Yeah, 1 down there. What is going on? That was in the sky above your planet. Just sitting there, taking it all in. Look at that. Get a load of that, would you? I mean, it just doesn't get any more bizarre than this. You can't make this stuff up. Here's that opening again that looked like a mouth.
What on earth? What type of demonic ship is this?
If you haven't heard of the disturbing story of these dark web shoes, you have no idea what you're about to get into. Because this guy was f***ing around with the dark web and he found out the hardest way possible. His name is Shiloh and he frequently explores the dark web, showcasing the most interesting or just emotionally scarring things he finds on there. When he came across a site that sells shoes, and right away there seemed to be something very off about it. To start, the shoes being sold were all used, tattered, and covered in blood. And they're all named after regular people and even have an age associated with each pair, which at first kind of seems like it might be, you know, the worst thing possible, similar to those Wayfair rumors that were going around a few years ago, where the online furniture company Wayfair was selling furniture that also had regular human-sounding names, and were being sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Like, who in their right mind would buy this IKEA-looking-at dresser for 20 grand? Online investigators linked the names of the furniture to cases of missing little ones, sparking the rumors that this was, that. Now, thankfully, these shoes were being sold for a much more modest $100 to $200, so it does seem a bit more legit. The site is called The Shoeman, and Shiloh decides to order a pair, which sends him down a rabbit hole that he definitely regretted. He buys these boots called the Whalen, age 29, absolutely stained in what looks like blood. At checkout, it asks him for his name, birthday, and this strange field called rental length, which he just puts at 1 year. He confirms the order, the shoes get shipped, and surprisingly actually arrive in the mail a few days later. Don't worry, he definitely used the P.O. box. He unboxes the package and the boots are there, exactly how they look like on the site, red stains and all. And this is about where things take a turn to the absolute worst a dark web shopper could imagine. Cause as he's inspecting one of the boots, a VHS tape unexpectedly slides out from it. A VHS tape from the dark web is just about the worst combination anyone could ask for. But he doesn't have a VHS player. Understandable, who does these days, so he orders one off the internet, like the normal web. In the meantime, he tests the red stains on the shoes to see what they really are, noticing that hydrogen peroxide foams up when he poured it on, which is expected with blood, but false positives are a possibility. So he orders luminol, a liquid commonly used to test for blood, which makes it glow blue under a UV when sprayed on. And it does exactly that. The stains on the shoes are in fact real blood, confirmed. The VHS player comes in so he can finally watch that mysterious tape. It's over an hour long and plays a bunch of weird a title scene that says The Schumann, and a series of random clips that don't seem to make much sense. A collection of messages from old movies and commercials compiled together. There's this section of some old movie that's played backwards. He reverses it and it says this.
The devil knows that. I heard her moving things all around that room all night. Never heard such goings on.
The tape also talks about not losing or destroying the shoes, as they will eventually get collected, which I guess is what that rental length field was for when he bought them. He says there are a couple parts of the tape that are definitely not safe to show on the internet, which you could only imagine what that might be. But it also has sections called submission slots, where it just shows a name and a submission. And these slots are filled with other people wearing the shoes they ordered, but are also not moving and, according to him, sometimes disfigured. Basically, everyone who orders a pair of shoes gets a copy of the tape, and they need to add their own part to it showing the shoes. Shiloh sees a submission slot with his name in it, so he's expected to record his own part for the tape. But the thing is, your submission could also get rejected for whatever reason, and the names of the rejected submissions were also the names of the shoes on the site. Submit or be submitted, as it says periodically throughout the video. Meaning, if you don't add to the tape, or if your submission gets rejected, you get submitted by the Schumann, who will add you to the tape himself. He checks the Schumann dark website again and finds out the entire marketplace has been taken down, but somehow it just keeps getting worse. The next day, he notices the heel on one of the boots is hollow. He cuts it open to find a blinking tracker inside, a GPS device with a SIM card that stopped blinking 5 minutes after he took it out. He goes on to buy a burner phone to test the SIM card in the tracker, and he gets service. The SIM card is active. So he investigates the actual tracker device using a USB converter to plug it into his computer, which lets him see the code the device was running and confirms that it was in fact sending his location to some phone number that he can now see. He assumes this is the number of the one who planted it, possibly the Schumann himself. He calls the number using his burner phone and he gets this voicemail.
So it's hella seductive.
Shiloh sends him a voice message back, and the next day the original voicemail changes to a completely different voice, claiming they are now trying to contact him specifically. So he texts the number asking what they want, and he gets a reply saying that he knows who Shiloh is. He's seen his videos online, which have been getting a lot of attention, that the tracker is his and that he's on Shiloh's side, letting him know to not trust the Schumann. Then continues to say that more will be on the way, and that he usually doesn't wait this long to make the rules known, that the effects have already started to show. A bunch of creepy, cryptic messages with little context. Turns out, this guy seems to be someone who rented these shoes previously and installed the tracker to track down the Schumann. But Shiloh's worried that it may actually just be the Schumann messing with him. A few days later, he gets a surprise package to his P.O. box that he never ordered, and it's another pair of shoes that appeared to be damp. Now, this pair also has a VHS tape inside one shoe and a cell phone in the other. The cell phone only has one number in it. He calls it, and the burner phone that he's been texting that guy with rings, meaning this is the phone he's been texting with that the guy now sent to him. At this point, he looks understandably very disturbed, claiming he's got to end this series before something really bad happens. As of now, his last video on the topic is him explaining that he needs to stop posting about this, that he can't explain why, but it's for a good reason. Whether this was all for show, a creepypasta ARG as they're called, or completely real, who knows, but everyone keep an eye on Shiloh and pray for his safety.
Don't claim any of that negative energy.
This is the Seraphim catacombs built between 1550 and 1520 BC, allegedly by King Amenhotep. And this underground place was carved out by the Egyptians to bury the bull, the Apis bull, the jackal, and the cat that they worshipped. They did sacrifices and stuff like that. There's 24 of these huge granite sarcophaguses. And look at that. Look at that. How did they do this? How'd they make that like that? 70 tons. 70 tons. And allegedly in the 1850s, they didn't find any bulls. They didn't find any full mummified bodies in any of these things. And I think it's BS that they're telling us that this is for animals. I think these are Nephilim sarcophagi. Whether this is pre-flood or not, not entirely sure, because we know the Nephilim came back after the flood, according to the Book of Numbers, and obviously there's giant bones and stuff that you can freely search on Google. But look at that. How did they cut that? This is mined 550 miles south in Aswan, Egypt. Look at the carvings. Some of these carvings may have been added later, but look at the sharp bronze tools. I think this is a Nephilim tomb. Because there's Egyptian hieroglyphic artwork of massive giant people, or at least people bigger than the other people, standing around. And look, how did they carve out the inside of this? Look at those sharp angles like that. And now that we know that the mainstream lies about everything, they didn't find any full mummified bulls down here. They found pieces of things, bones of things. But the tomb raiders probably found these huge people in these coffins, and they used to eat mummified people because they thought that, eating mummified people would, give them health benefits. Did y'all see how smooth this is? Sorry if it's loud in the background. I'm currently in New York. But look how smooth that is. They're not doing this with hammer and chisel. Okay. This is ancient technology. And I believe that this is, oh yeah. And by the way, when they discovered this, they found this sarcophagus just randomly in the tunnel. And our guide looked us in the face and said that they built the tunnel around the sarcophagi. Like, how did they get them down there? And he was like, oh yeah, they just built it on top. They built the cave system on top of the sarcophagi. And I was looking at him, I'm like, I'm not going to cause any problem. This is the Seraphim catacombs built between...
He said, I'm not going to cause any problems, and really get to questioning too much here. Shout out to I Go By William. They either were a giant sarcophagus or they were a giant battery of some sort. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
The elite already control everything. Money, media, genetics, even the weather. There's only one thing they don't have: immortality. And now they think they've found a new way to get it. Not with stone, but with artificial intelligence. Today, the serpent isn't made of scales. It's made of code. The ocean isn't cosmic anymore. It's the internet. And they're churning it again. Every face, voice, memory, DNA strand, and thought is being fed into the machine. The goal: to create a new Emerita, not a nectar, but digital godhood. They want to merge all of humanity's minds into a single Stargate-like AI, all-knowing, all-seeing being that never dies. A synthetic soul. They call it progress, but it's the second churning.
The Great Pyramid at Giza was not a tomb, it was a machine. A precision-engineered atmospheric energy power plant, much like Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower. Both structures sit atop powerful underground aquifers. Running out from the pyramids are iron-rich veins, which serve to connect all three pyramids together, just like buried power lines. Now let's examine the famous Dendera light bulb. I want you to take a look at argon light bulbs, which also contain mercury. Take a look at the snake-like coil of plasma within them. Large pools of mercury have also been found at the pyramids and other pyramid sites around the world. The source of this mercury could have been a large mercury arc rectifier at the center of the pyramid. Mercury arc rectifiers are used to convert AC to DC current. This is exactly what you would need to utilize the power from an ambient source. The Great Pyramid at Giza was not
only at the Great Pyramid of Giza, but also the terracotta warriors had that lake of mercury. Is it possible that they had a giant mercury rectifier in there somehow?
You decide to enter the blood portal. Upon entering, you find yourself before the Prince of Madness. He asks you a riddle.
I'm tall when I'm young, and short when I'm old. What am I?
If you answered incorrectly, you are shredded and ground into food for his daughters. But if you answered correctly, you are permitted to wed one of his daughters and inherit the throne of madness.
The area became especially sacred to the Lakota people, who formed the western branch of what the U.S. called the Sioux Nation. The Lakota believed one cave within the Black Hills to be where they first emerged, and they named one of the Black Hills mountain peaks the Six Grandfathers.
Prior to Mount Rushmore, the Six Grandfathers had a cave. That cave was sealed by the U.S. government. However, it brought on a new name, the name of the Hall of Records. Not letting the spirit die, the Crazy Horse Memorial points in a direction of the third largest cave system in the world. Containing 168 miles of explored caves, only 10% of this caves has been explored. And there is one president on Mount Rushmore facing that direction, Honest Abe. These are the caves beneath. At its full extension, this Wind Cave National Monument contains over 1,000 miles of caves, very reminiscent to Cappadocia, with Crazy Horse and Mount Rushmore pointing out the fact. The Wind Cave ties all of it together. By their creators, it was all deliberate, and only Honest Abe of Rushmore was facing the direction in which Crazy Horse points.
The Lakota believed one cave within the Black Hills to be where they first emerged, and they named one of the Black Hills mountain peaks the Six Grandfathers.
What exactly do you think's in that cave system? Wonder what type of artifacts or creatures could be inside.
There's a place called Moundville. It's essentially pyramids in Tuscaloosa. And it's called Moundville.
It's an amazing area. I want to go visit it myself. A few weeks ago, I made a post about it, I think on one of the social medias and stuff. I think it was maybe Twitter. But Moundville is like, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's pyramids. It's a ton of them. I don't know how many there are, but there's like at least like what, 15, 20 of them.
There's like a cave system underneath it too.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
I didn't go to those. There's a place in Greenville, Mississippi, which is also third, that's called Winterville Mounds. And I walked out there and I was like the only one there. And it was just like that. Like, these are pyramids.
So you're saying you just walked right out to them?
Yeah, they were roped off. Like, you can't just walk on top of them and stuff.
But you did anyway.
There were little small ones that I guess you could. No, I didn't walk on top of them. I was trying to be respectful. First of all, I don't want no bad juju. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want no spirits to come.
I'm the guy that's just like, oh, let's just go walk on and see what happens.
No, you
what was it called?
The Winterville Mounds.
Winterville Mounds.
Yeah, I got pictures I can show you on my phone that are up. You know, I say up close and personal, but
dang, those are pyramids.
Those are pyramids, dude.
Those are pyramids.
There's even the things on they describe it as somebody's house but it looks like a pyramid, except it doesn't have the top. But it looks like the stuff you see in, you know, Teotihuacan or wherever else.
I bet you if you excavated it, it's like a whole structure.
I'm sure they did something, but you know, we won't know. All these places are protected, but there's places like that all across the United States, man. And if you move across the 33rd to Arkansas, you get the Fouke monster, which is like a Bigfoot in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Right. If you move across to Dallas, Texas, that's where Kennedy was on the 33rd parallel, underneath the 33rd overpass, I believe. I don't know. I can't remember exactly.
Really?
Yeah. You also have a little town called Rockwall, Texas, which is where Alex Jones is from. And there's a giant rock wall that's there, and they found a giant's skull there. So it's well known for not only birthing, I guess, Alex Jones, but also having giant skulls.
What exactly is the 33rd parallel? Is that like a ley line or something?
A relic in Notre Dame in Paris of the crown of thorns exists there. And if you see it, it is more like a hoop, and most of the thorns are gone off. That's what gets preserved. So if that really is, let's say it's authentic, it doesn't mean a relic in Notre Dame in Paris of the crown of thorns exists there. And if you see it, it is more like a hoop, and most of the thorns are gone off of it, but that's what gets preserved. So if that really is, let's say it's authentic, it doesn't mean that's the whole of what was the crown of thorns. It may be parts of it. Okay. There's evidence just historically that thorns were broken off and sent off in different places in reliquaries. But let's say this really was an actual part of the crown of thorns. It doesn't mean it was merely this kind of wreath or halo type of shape. But in order to make the helmet, that is the base that holds the rest of the thorn branches that bend around it. So it may be that that's what is survived, if it's authentic. There's no way to know. What test are you going to do?
I think it's something that, I mean, I've never even considered questioning, like, until I saw the replica, and I was thinking, helmet, interesting, you know? But it makes sense. It's even more violent when you think about reef versus helmet. They're abusing this man. And if you make this helmet, I imagine you can put a lot more pressure on it if by using a helmet, by hitting it onto the head or something like that, instead of just trying to push it down onto somebody's head. They weren't doing it gently. You're talking about a man who went through a very violent death wearing a helmet of thorns. That it seems excruciatingly painful.
Right. Yeah. And you know, some replicas have really long thorns as well. There's several different kind of species of plants that make thorns around that area. So we don't really know what kind. You know, these are pretty modest thorns I have on here, but when you're talking about your head, it doesn't take much. Your head bleeds so easily. And so it doesn't matter if it's a big thorn or a little thorn. As long as you got thorns, it's not pretty. A relic in Notre Dame in Paris.
A helmet of thorns? Oh, man.
You're sharing your snacks?
Appreciate your mothers while they're still here.
So please tell me y'all saw the dude from My Chemical Romance, I think his name is Gerard, morph into a demon mid-performance at his concert a couple days ago. If you didn't see it, trigger warning, if you're easily scared, click off the video right now. But this is what he looked like. Yes, this is that same man, complete morphing into a demon, a reptilian, if you will. This is what he morphed into. And we see these a lot with these celebrities, these musicians on stage. They will somehow trigger a alter ego and then they will morph. And now here's the video for context. But it was twice. I don't know if y'all saw initially he morphed, he went back to himself, and then he morphed again at the end of that little clip. And we see these things happen so often. I'm not very familiar with My Chemical Romance. I don't know any songs by him. What I do know is that I believe he makes it's like heavy metal music and like that rock star type of stuff. And we know that the demons heavily influence that kind of music, all music, but for sure that kind of music. And so if you are listening to this and you should probably stay away from things like this, because when people start to morph into demons, that means that they are being inspired by demons, if not an actual demon.
That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, I just want to thank you for rocking with your boy. And the code word for today is, what's today? Friday? Let's do Super Friday Banger. You know, when I double up on you, I like doing the super. So let's do Super Friday Banger. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. And this was Creepy Videos That Absolutely Blew My Mind. Till next time.